Okay, come and stand in the middle of your mat, feet hip width apart. Perhaps just a little wiggle on the toes, a wiggle on the fingers. Place one hand just kind of on your tummy and maybe one hand on your chest. We're going to go in and out on the pelvic floor and the TVA, so tuck the pelvis under. But the hand here on your chest is just to keep an eye on if you're holding your breath, because you'll notice with your hand there, but also if you've got any tension there in the shoulders. So you can keep an eye on that with that hand. And this hand down on your tummy, you should be able to feel the TVA connecting and then releasing. So 100% pull in, nice and fast, and then a slow release. So in, and out, and in, and out, and in, and out, and in, and out, and in, and out. 5 to go, and in, and out, and in, and out, and in, and out. 2 more, and in, and out, last one, and in, and out. Then in halfway, so just that little bit of engagement, not so much. It's going to take all of your concentration, and we're going to go shoulders up to the ears. Back and forth, shoulders up to the ears, big kind of hunched up, and then release. And lift, and release. Now if it's useful, maybe a sigh or a depends what kind of day you've had. Try and think about the length at the back of the neck, crown of head going up towards the ceiling. Notice as you lift your shoulders with you lose TVA, so just try and keep that 50%. 2 more. Last one. Now we're going to go shoulders forwards, and you can look down, and then shoulders back, and perhaps look up. So there's a little bit of work with the neck. Shoulders forwards, and you can open, palms to the side, shoulders back. I did that massive drive yesterday, so 5-hour drive to get up here just north of Dunedin. I really noticed my shoulders ended up being really far forward, and so this is just what I need. So adding a little bit more, start to do a slow roll down, chin to chest, soften the knees, slide the hands down the legs, maybe touching the floor, not necessary, you might just go to the knees. Unpeel, coming back up, circle the arms down and around, looking up, maybe big back bend if it suits. And then again, down, breathing out. If you can, you're just going to take that little bit of engagement with the pelvic floor and the TVA. Keep the pelvis tucked under as you do your baby back bends. 2 more. Think about releasing the lower back more than a hamstring stretch. So do soften the knees or bend the knees. Breathing in, you've got widening the rib cage. Last one. So come to goalposts, because last week I did fingertips behind the ears, so a little bit different. It's going to be a little more challenging to goalposts, and it's challenging because you have to concentrate where your elbows are at, because they're going to want to drop a little bit. That looked like I was cleaning a window. That's quite a fun one. So do think about where your elbows are. So start to do a side bend like this. So pelvis tucked under, pull in a little bit of the core, and then just tilting over and then recentering. But see if you can keep the right angles between the forearms and kind of where the biceps sit. And that's tricky because they'll want to kind of shift and move, and it's just about kind of keeping that awareness of where the arms are. Keeping an eye on the core. So again, pelvic floor, TVA pulled in. And the head's just going to stay in the middle of the goalpost like goalkeeper. Just tilting it over. We go 2 more. It's breathing out as you go over into your side bend. And breathing in center. The Then center, we're going to take a twist. So it's inhale to the left, exhale to the right. Soften the knees. And you can, I mean, you don't have to go this fast. I'm kind of working at getting a bit of energy in the body, so I'm moving quite quickly, but you might want to slow that down completely. But sometimes with the energy idea, the momentum, it's just kind of about revitalizing, kind of getting rid of any negative energy. So it's how you feel comfortable, but do bend knees, engage core. And you notice how I've noticed it, my elbows are dropping. So see if you can just keep those goalposts lifted as best as you can. Keep the right angles there between the forearms and the biceps. Inhale to the left, exhale to the right. You're looking to the left, you're looking to the right. This is actually Kundalini, so if anyone's done any of that Kundalini yoga, they use a little bit of this kind of work, this breath work in that yoga. 4 more. Should start putting a bit of energy. If anything, I feel a bit dizzy, but that's okay. At least I'm not spinning all the way around. A bit of a shake out on the arms. We did this last week, so balance on one leg lift. Engage core, so pelvic floor, TVA. Some people walking outside. Tony, maybe I shouldn't have put her on a throne. Then circle. Again, we did this last week. Just imagine that one leg circle, the one we do lying down. And it doesn't have to be a massive circle. Like, just choose what feels right on your warm up for your hips, for one way, for the other. Then swap sides, it's leg lift. And just to anchor yourself on this balance, you use your big toe, scrunch up a little bit on your toes, engage the arch underneath the foot, bit of pelvic floor, maybe the glute on the balancing leg, then the circles. Notice what's happening with your shoulders. Is there any tension? So just try and let go of that tension. Maybe in the jaw as well. Sometimes we balance and I think kind of any sort of, not stress, but like challenge. We sometimes tighten in the jaw. So another balance exercise, and then we go goalposts again. And again, we did this last week. Just balance on the first leg, then just take the leg back. So all you're doing is squeezing the glute. This is preparing us for more glute work later. And then the arms goalpost again. Now remember the swan dive. She says can't balance. Goalpost and then extend. And we did that last week like this, but obviously this is more what we do in the swan dive. So we're leaning forward slightly, shoulders over the top of the big toe. I mean, I feel like my foot wobbles from my little toe to my big toe, my little toe to my big toe. You can think about straightening that back leg to get a bit of length. We are going to swan dive later, so it's just a little preparation move for that. And then switch sides, other leg back. Then think about these goalposts. Are they coming down like this? So do see if you can hold them. Elbows up level with shoulders, and that in itself is quite a tricky one, isn't it? And then work into the extension. So we're thinking about just getting lots of length and space in the spine, working on this balance. Two more. Okay, so I'm gonna put weights into this next bit, but you don't necessarily need to. We're gonna go squats. So feet hip width apart, bend knees, and the options are front raise, so you can bring the weights in front of you, or you do exactly that with your arms. Without weights, you can extend your arms a little bit higher. So hips go back into space. Try not to let the knees pronate in. If you look down, you've got your shoulders, your knees, your big toes all in a nice line. Feet parallel. If it feels more comfortable, you can go lateral raise. So you can just work on strengthening around the shoulder. Or you could go front raise, and then the lateral raise. You can do that without the weights too. And because I haven't done weights actually, free weights, for a little while. I do my Olympic lifts every week, but I do find the lateral raise quite hard if I haven't done it for a while. It's just taking the weights out to these corners. Whew. So, adding in what we did last week, you do exactly this but with the side step. So you can go front raise, side step, lateral raise in the middle, side step, front raise, side step. So just adding in that reset, you've got to reset the feet. Just adding in a little bit more coordination. Don't forget to breathe. I think I'm forgetting to breathe. Breathing in lift, breathing out lower. I did it today actually because I said something in the group, which I'm getting better at in a group of people. Obviously because I'm on this residential studying. And actually I just forgot to breathe. I said about 5 sentences without breathing. Last one. Okay, wide squat. No, you with or without weights. I'm going to just go for one weight because 2's a little bit heavy for me. Wide squat, come down like a sumo wrestler. Let the feet angle out a little bit on a diagonal. Holding one weight or 2, whichever you can do. Take a big circle in front of you. This is still one of my favourite moves. I said that like about a month ago. Haven't done it for a month and I started to feel that I hadn't done it in my back muscles a little bit. So you can do exactly that without the weights as well, but do try and come down. Like you can test yourself by coming down further into the squat. Keep the legs still as you're doing your circling around, all the way around. Think about how high and how much to the sides you can work. Again, try and drop a bit further down into the squat. Just challenge that low squat. Again, it's just that trickiness of going out to the corners, isn't it? Especially if you're putting the weights in. One more. Then we'll put the weights down, and then again a little bit of balance. You might want to hold on to something to start with, or put your back against the wall, or go for the challenge. I'll show you sideways arm. See if you can just hug knee towards chest. So, I mean, we do this lying down. If we were going to go into a hamstring stretch, we might hug knee into chest. It is quite tricky on a balance. And just see if you can find a little bit more on your stretch without hitching your hip up. Take a deep breath. And then switch that over. Check your foot's parallel with the edges of the mat, it's not turning out. Use your big toe on your balance, use your pelvic floor. Just hugging knee into chest. Notice if you're leaning forward, so just try and get nice and upright, tuck the pelvis under. Again, just taking a deep breath. Release. Another challenge to balance, but with movement. So high knee, walk through. So it's just a walking high knee. Every third one, hold. So it's 1, it's 2, it's 3. And it's the third one that you'll find you wobble. And 2, the foot will, again, want to tilt side to side, the big toe, the little toe. Use your pelvic floor, use your glutes. Obviously the hands, so if you're running, you might know opposite hand will come forwards with the opposite knee. That will help the balance. Zola just sighed. Now you could add a little bit more into that, so you can take a little bit more of like 1, 2, 3, woo, rebalance. 1, 2, 3, rebalance. 1, 2, 3. And you see, I do that because I'm trying to stabilize, but 1, 2, 3. Again, it's just a little bit more challenging. Last one. Okay, last little thing. Take the weight over into one foot. Haven't done it for a while, just see if you can close your eyes, count to 5. Use your big toe, use your pelvic floor, use your glutes. Then open the eyes. See if you can just do 10 heel lifts. So just, it doesn't have to be high, just small heel lifts and lowers. It's just engaging the calf muscle. If you think about where your shoulders are, they're slightly, they're not forwards, but they're in front of the hips. And if you were going down, they might interlock with where the knees are. So you can set the hips back slightly. Then we'll swap sides, so close your eyes, count to 5. Try and relax the shoulders, the jaw. Then your 10 heel lifts. And try not to lean back, so think about when we're walking, when we're running, the momentum to go forwards, because we're trying to work on the connections, the foot to the glutes, the pelvic floor, up to the brain. So a bit of a release, a bit of a shake. We'll come down to the mat, so meet me in a downward dog. Or puppy dogs if you prefer. Spread the fingers, spiral biceps towards each other. Set the feet hip width apart, perhaps walking through if you're a little bit tight there in your calf muscles or hamstrings. Think about that shape, that nice kind of mountain peak shape. So if you feel like you're not getting the stretch on the backs of the shoulders, just deeply bend the knees, send the chest towards the thighs. So I'm just going to switch positions. See if you can walk your downward dog really super wide as you can go. And then walk your hands to the middle. And then see if you can slowly uncurl. Arms out to the side. We did this last week. I know I've cut my head off. Breathing out, twist. Breathing in, then breathing out. Reach the hand down towards the opposite foot. Curl. Other side is the standing saw. Breathing in, twist. Breathing out, twist. Breathing into it, upright. Breathing out, down. When you feel comfortable taking into the stretch, you could do a little bit more, have a little pulse through. But do soften the knees a little bit. Don't hyperextend at the backs of the legs, the hamstring. And maybe you don't go down, touch the foot, maybe it's the knee. You can just slide the hand on the knee just to work into there. Two more. And then we're gonna walk back in and come back into our dogs. Normally Zola joins me when I go down with dog, but I think a night sleeping in the van, I think she's a bit tired. So bring the hands down, walk the feet back in, and then you're back in your dogs. And just see again how that feels after doing a little bit of a stretch on the hamstrings. Does it feel a bit more comfortable coming into downward dog again? If the legs can enjoy the stretch, maybe you can find a little bit more of the Flexibility on the backs of the shoulders and the spine. Bring it down into dolphin, so bring the elbows down. Again, try and work on the shape that you're in, this nice long kind of spine from the crown of the head up towards the hips. Take a couple of deep breaths here. Think about widening the rib cage. Then bring the knees down. We're going to go into front leg pull. So we'll go straight in. If you want to have a rest, just drop the hips down, have a little 10 seconds rest or something. So we're going to go with either a leg straightener and then bend knee, leg straightener. So that's your one option. Or you've got leg straight, full plank, knee drop. And we're actually going to see if we can do 50, which sounds like quite a lot, doesn't it? Hopefully I can count to 50 because I'm going to start counting now because otherwise I will lose count. I won't be able to talk. Let's go 1, 2, and 3. At any time you can take a rest. 4 and 5. Try and work on your shape. Nice long plants. 6, 7, and 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Keep breathing. 21, and 2, and 3, 24, 25. Halfway. And 6, 7, and 8, 9, and 10. Keep breathing. 20 left. 31, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, 38, and 9, 40, 10 to go. 41, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 5, 46, 7, 8, 9, and 50. Okay, just take a little rest there. You could just drop down, have a little rest, maybe rest in Sphinx position. It's quite comfortable sometimes. Elbows underneath your shoulders, shoulders down away from ears. Engage the abdominals. Should get a bit of an abdominal stretch if you kind of just send hips down into the mat. Engage pelvic floor. Just take a couple of deep breaths here. Think about widening rib cage with your breath again. If you want a bit more, you've got cobras, so you can take a bit of a bigger lift. Straightening the arms. Take one deep breath here and then lower. Come up onto all fours then. Got a combination. It's got quite a nice, got quite a few elements to it. Same as last week. 4 of the opposite arm, opposite leg lifts, okay? Then you do the extension on the leg. I'll just talk you through it. You do your arm circles. You do 2 of them. One side, one the other. Then leg to the side. And then a nice slide down for a gate pose. Okay? So 4 standard Superman reaches, 2 arm rainbows, and then a gate pose. Okay, let's go for it. Check you're in neutral. Engage with the core, feet, knees hip width apart. Breathing out, work into your extensions, and they don't need to be super high. If you're feeling a little bit tired, you can take them nice and low. And then other side. Oh, I've got something there. Didn't quite have the length on my studio as normal. Eye gaze to the front of the mat. Crown of head in line with spine. Then you're going to drop whichever foot you've got back. Work with the chest and the shoulders. Reaching back with a little bit of balance. Then you do need the space. I'm going to just, so gate pose is going to look like this. You need that little bit of space either side. And you can really take your time on gate pose, as much time as you need for that stretch. Then recenter yourself. Go back into your extensions. Focus there on the core, that center point being really still. You're not arching in the lower back. The pelvis is tucked under. Should feel the glutes squeezing. Then you've got those rainbow, those lifts. I'm just watching in the screens. I forgot actually, Jeanette, you weren't doing that. And you can do exactly this standing up. those rainbow twists. You've got it, yeah. And then gate pose, again, you can just take one leg to the side and do a nice big side bend if you're in standing. 2 more times, one on each side with the gate pose. 4 extensions. Just try and tie it with your own breath, breathing out into that extension. Then open, kind of get work into the shoulder and the chest. And then gate pose. I have to move around because I've got a wall, but if you've got the space, you can just go straight into the gate pose. That's one of my favorites, is gate pose. Last time through. Extensions. Keeping that length at the back of the neck, looking towards the front of the mat. Rainbows. And then that gate pose. Okay, well, we'll do a little release from that in cat stretch. So spread the fingers and then just tilt the pelvis under, chin into chest, get that space between the shoulders. Big deep breath in again, think about widening the rib cage. Then go into the foot taps. We did this a few weeks ago. Try and keep the back end neutral as you're doing your foot taps. I'm finding that really hard to keep that going today for some reason. The first time we did this, I could just keep going. We have to start doing drum beats, don't we? Like mirroring. That'd be fun. Just helping to stimulate the lymphus, really. Then one wrist stretch, so just take the fingers towards the knees, and you can just do this in standing. If you're not on knees, you can take your wrist stretch. That would look like that, so just holding. Unpeel, go to the other side. Then release. Now come down onto your fronts, lie on your front. Just relax a little bit here. So go a bit heavy on the upper body. Let your head just rest on your hands. We're going to do the glute activations. It's been a while since we've done these, but I just think it's a small move and it's really effective. So squeeze one glute and then just point the toes and lift that leg off the floor and then bring it down. Other side. See if you can get the glute to squeeze, the hamstring to engage, and then the lower back on the other side of the body to stabilize. It's that chain that we're trying to create. And all the time as you do your lifts, you're thinking about sending that foot right the way down the end of the mat, as far away as you can. Breathing out lift. And it's breathing in lower. And maybe even closing eyes just to really focus, concentrate on what the body's doing. 3 more. So we'll do a swan dive, but just before that, T-shape with the arms. You need a bit of space either side. If you haven't got the space, you'll have to go to goal posts. I'm just gonna come to the edge of my mat. Then just take the thumbs down. So you've got thumbs on the mat and then your hands lifted. Breathing out and just send the arms up and then down. Breathing out, lift. Breathing in lower. Thumbs touch the floor and then a bit of a lift. Now you can add into that, so start lifting the chest and the shoulders a little bit higher. Try and keep the eye gaze down. Length at the back of the neck. Into this lift and lower. The idea with the thumbs down, it just helps to send the shoulders together. So you can imagine shoulder blades kind of Coming in together and then releasing. Last one of them, now you need space at the front. It's going to do the extension, so goalposts, breathing out lift, breathing in, then breathing out, work into your extension, swan dive. And hopefully it feels a little bit easier. We've done a couple of preparations here. We did one in the warm-up, and then just doing that T-shape. Hopefully that helps the shoulders to get into that lift. So then all you have to do is hold that lift for that extension. Really take your time. See if you can get the 3 breaths in there. Engage pelvic floor. 2 more. Last one. Then the release for that is going to be our child's pose or puppy dog. So sitting back towards heels for child's pose. Puppy dog, hips are lifted. Just settle in really. So maybe just take hips side to side. Think about sending the breath into the belly towards the lower back. If you can, forehead onto the mat or forehead resting on the hands. Five deep breaths. Okay, from there then, pick a side. We're going to go to clam, so if you've got your loop band and you want to put your loop band in, I'm just going to check the time. Grab your loop band. I didn't bring mine actually, I forgot. Pick a side. In fact, I'm going to go this side first. I've always gone the other side, so let's pick my spare side first. Bend the knees, line up, heels, hips, shoulders, the resting elbow should line up with the knees. Lift the feet up level with the hips. Lift and lowers. So we go for about 30 of these, and obviously if you've got a really strong resistant band, you might want to just reduce that a little bit, or take 10, rest for 5 or something, and then 10. I better start counting. That's 5, so 6, 7, and 8. Now check that you're pulling in the core. Sometimes we totally forget the core, so maybe even hand, like we did in the warm-up. 10, 8, 11, 8, 9, what are we doing? 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18, 19, 20. Keep engaging core. 10 to go. 9, and 8. You feeling this? 7, 6, 5, 4. Should get the glute med around the back. 3, 2, and 1. And release. Bring it. So we're going to go double leg lift. We're going to roll onto our back, so you can leave the bands in there. Need a bit of space, so you might want to come to the front of the mat. Line yourself up. Lift top leg, lift bottom leg. Lift the rib cage, and you'll find the core as you do that. Take a moment just to have a really big stretch. Breathe in on that big stretch. Breathing out, everything relaxes. Roll down. Now we did this last week, the slow. You can bend knees, slow roll down, then roll up to that seated position, vertebrae by vertebrae, and it is tricky. You can put your hands behind your legs for that. Down, and then we go back round. Into your lifts. Into the balance, the extension. Big deep breath in. You can think about widening the rib cage on that one. Then everything releases totally onto your back. Then chin into chest. Engage with the core, and you might be holding on the backs of the legs. See if you can come up. Upright position, shoulders relaxed, lift chest. Then C-shape the spine, bring it down, lots of control. We'll do one more of these. Then we'll go to the other side. Into your lifts. Into your stretch. Ribcage lifted. Big deep breath in, then out, release, roll onto your back, bend knees. Chin into chest. Try and keep that space between the knees. Coming up. And actually the slower you do all this, the harder it is obviously for the core. Find an upright and then release it down. Before we switch to the other side, just take goalpost arms, elbows on the floor, hands up to the ceiling, lying on your back. So from here, either let both knees drop across to one side, take a really nice spine twist stretch, but try and keep the shoulders in touch with the floor, in touch with the mat. The same with the elbows. Length at the back of the neck. Now ideally we would go up to tabletop here. We go across and then extend out to the corners of the room. Imprinting the lower back as you go across, engage with the core. Extend, you get a little bit of a hamstring stretch, IT band stretch. Now notice what happens with the hands, like my hands are starting to drift back. So just see if you can keep it so that the fingertips point up to the ceiling. Try and keep that control. Try and keep the shoulders down, the elbows down, the length there at the back of the neck. Breathing out into your extensions. Last one. Then we're going to go on to the other side, ready for the clam. I'm going to switch myself around so I'm facing the screen. Up to you how you want to do it. Again, if you've got your loop bands and you want to put them in, bend the knees, then heels in line with hips and shoulders, engage the core. 30 of the knee lifts. Maybe hands there, just kind of tummy button area, or just kind of tummy button diagonally down to hips. That's where the TVA is, and just keeping an eye on that engagement there. It's 4 and 3, 2, what am I doing? 5, 6, 7, 8, I need to work on my counting. 9, 10, 11, 12. Try and just touch like a feather touch with the knees and the feet so we're not flopping down. 15, halfway. 16, 17, and 18, 19, 20, 10 to go. 10 and 9. You feeling this now? 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, and 3. Last one. 2, 1. It's a good thing I don't study maths, isn't it? Oh dear. Okay, straightening out. Line yourself up on the side of that mat. Lift top leg, lift bottom leg, lift the rib cage. Take a stretch. Take a moment to breathe in. Get as long as you can. Then breathing out, release, roll onto your back, bend the knees, feet, hip width apart, chin towards chest. Maybe hands behind the legs if you struggle to come up. But see if you can bring yourself up, shoulders relaxed. Lift the chest, take a moment, and then C-shape that spine, the lower back, that lower spine down, and then roll onto your side. We're going to do 2 more. Into the lifts. Rib cage lifted. Big extension. Breathing in. Breathing out into that roll. Chin to chest. Imagine you're just coming out of a bubble bath. And then slowly going back down into the bubble bath. And then around. I haven't had a bath. That sounds bad. I haven't had a bath in ages. It's because I have a shower, by the way. But like a really nice treat bubble bath. I actually haven't done that for so long. Big stretch. Breathing in, but engage the core. Then release. Bend the knees, chin into chest. Let's come all the way up. Breathing in and then breathing out. Nice and slow with control. All the way back down. Nice. Okay, so we're now on our backs. We're going to do our abdominals. I'm going to grab the weights, get them ready, because scapular set we're going to start with. Knees, feet hip width apart, elbows into your waist, shoulders down and back, length at the back of the neck. If your chin's going up to the ceiling, put a cushion underneath your head. So with your thumbs here, take your thumbs down to the floor and then lifting them back to center. Notice what's happening with the angle where your elbow is. So are you bringing it in, or have you got it a nice right angle? Because that's what you want to try and create. Now you can put weights into that. Holding the weights, take them down with control, and then back up. Notice if your lower back is arched or lifted. So see if you can imprint the lower back down. Check your shoulders aren't lifting. Maybe you can feel the shoulders imprinting or moving. You might feel them moving as you go over with the weights. Often in standing, we arch the lower back, the pelvis changes position, but obviously lying like this, you can control all of that. 2 more. Breathing out lower. Breathing in center. Keep the length there at the back of the neck. Notice if the chin's lifted. So you can always make a double chin. Okay, weights to the side. Let's do a little bit more stability work here. But chest lift, so lift up, fingertips behind the head. So the rib cage goes down towards the hips, but we're not kind of pushing our neck in this position. Then lift one leg to tabletop. And then lift, if you can lift the other leg to tabletop. And then bring it down and down. Imprint that lower back down, so engage the core. Just keep walking through, lift, and then lower, lower. Your pace. Hold the chest lift up, so you're having to really work hard in that position. If that doesn't work for your neck's not feeling comfortable, you can simply lower down and have your elbows on the floor. Otherwise you're in chest lift. Now adding in lift and lift, then lengthen, and then bend, and down, and down. So much control and precision, it's actually quite hard. A lot of coordination. See if you can keep the hip width there as well, so you're not bringing things onto that midline. And in. One more time through into your lifts, imprinting that lower back down, keeping the control, nice and slow, and release. So you know what that imprint feels like. So now we'll go 5 sets, the 100, 4 toe taps, 8 pulses, and then an 8-second hold. If you need just a little pelvic tilt, just to reset from that one. Okay, fine core, pelvic floor, TVA imprint, lower back down, 4 toe taps, 4 and 3. Relax the shoulders, 2 and 1. Lift head and shoulders, pulse the arms, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hands to knees, hold, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. If you want more, tabletops then going down. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Ready to pulse. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and hold. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. Here we go. 4, 3, and 2, and 1. Ready to pulse. If you want on a hover. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Teasers if you have them. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release. 2 more times. 4 and 3, 2 and 1. Ready to pulse. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And hold. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And release. Last time. 4, 3, imprinting. 2 and 1. Ready to pulse. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Oh, she can't get up. Hold. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Release. Full body stretch. Give everything a bit of a squeeze. Point the toes. Squeeze the glutes. Bring everything into the midline. So imagine you're like a piece of celery and you're just so long and string, like a piece of string. Bring the fists together, the toes together. Scrunch up your face. Get the shoulders up to the ears. Take a really big, deep breath in. And breathing out, just go as wide as you can. Super heavy on the mat and the floor, really messy, just be really messy. Really messy shape, not symmetrical. A couple of easy breaths. Then both hands up to the ceiling, bend both knees. Just going to do this on the first layer only. Is dead bug, opposite arm, opposite leg. It lengthens and then comes back up to center. I just want you to think about getting length. So as you reach, take a moment and reach a little bit further and then recenter. We did it last week. So reach, take a moment and then just bring it back up. Try and keep the imprint, lower back down. Try not to let the hips tilt in any way. So try and keep everything kind of hip width, shoulder width. Breathing out. Just one more. Then hands behind head or goalpost. So your choice, goalpost is going to be more tricky. Then we'll come up and bend the knees. We're going to go double leg stretch. And then so all it is breathing out, extend the legs. Breathing in, bend. And it doesn't have to be, don't let the hips lift. So you don't have to, bring the knees to the chest. Extension and bend. Now, there's a little bit of choice in here. So you can extend, lower the legs down to a hover, bring them back up, and then bend. Think about that imprint, because as you lower, you might feel like the lower back arches or lifts. So you go to the point where it tests it, and then you bring it back up. Notice if the shoulders are lifting, so try and stay super heavy on the goalposts. Now there's another choice. Extend, and then take a circle. All the way around. You will find like the imprint changes, and then go back around the other way. So the imprint will kind of shift a little bit on the sides. Just if you can keep the control so you don't totally fall over. So you extend, and then circle. We're going to go one more. Working whichever choice you're going with. Lowering down. Now we're going to do the same move we did in warm-up. Hug one knee into chest. Start with the other knee bent. It works with the stretch, and you might want to extend to get a little bit more length in there. Now you might prefer holding the hamstrings, so you might prefer being in that position if you get any issues with your knees. Then same leg, and I'm going to bend my other knee to get ready for this. You don't have to hamstring stretch. So take that foot up towards the ceiling. And your choice, if you're struggling and you want to put your band in, grab your band. Otherwise, just hold your hamstring stretch. Maybe hamstring or calf muscle. Push away at the back of the knee. Maybe a little circle on the ankle if you're a little bit tight in there, be running off road or anything like that. Try not to lose the posture, the work we've done on the back of on the shoulders, so if you're in this position, it kind of undoes some of the work we've done. So allow the top part of the spine to relax and be down on the mat. Then we'll go to the other leg, but start knee to chest like we did before. Now notice when you're doing that, you're not lifting or hitching the hips. So go really heavy, kind of down with the hips, send kind of, you almost want to send the hips down into the mat, so you're grounding hips down, you're not tilting in the hips. And you might want to extend the other leg. And then you could go into your hamstring stretch, so straightening that leg. God, to be fair, my hamstrings are pretty good after a night in the van. Normally sleeping in the van is kind of, it wasn't cold last night, but it can be cold and it just makes my muscles really tight. I actually slept really well. And I didn't realise, but I woke up and I'd actually parked right next to these public toilets that were so clean and so good. I just couldn't believe my luck. And they were open at 7 and they had everything. They had like soap and hairdryers and everything. It was really strange. And I also parked right next to this lovely little shelter. So I made my coffee in the morning with my stove. And at 9:30 last night, it was dark. I had no idea of where to park. I just literally I found a church. I kind of slept right next to a church, but I thought it'd be kind of safe. So yeah, it was funny. Why did I start talking about that? Oh yeah, because normally my hamstrings would be terrible after a night in the van, but actually they're not too bad. Okay, bend the knees. We're going to do a quick shoulder bridge. So walk your heels in, you can touch your heels. Pelvic tilt, treat it like a massage for the lower back. Shoulders relaxed. You got that length there at the back, length at the back of the neck. We're going to lift the hips. Chin goes to chest. This is a release for the throat chakra. Arms can go up and over. We're just going to go up and down on a couple of these. So then release it back down. Nice and slowly, vertebrae by vertebrae. Bringing it down. Try and keep the feet parallel. Think about pressing down into those feet. Arms up and over. Chin to chest. Get that release on the throat chakra. Arms back down. Nice and slow with the lower back. One more. Press down into the feet. So really connect here with the feet and then the glutes. Pelvic floor engages. Arms up and over. Chin to chest. Breathing out. Bring it down nice and slowly. Hug knees into chest. A bit of a circle or a rock. Come up to seated position. On time, we're doing on time. Doing good. Okay, we'll do a little rock back roll over. So options here, hold on to the shins, C-shape the spine to upright, or hover, hold on to the shins, rock back. Either stay in a curved little ball and try and hold your hover, or you could do a roll over. I've got a dressing table. I've never had a dressing table in my room before. Great. Probably need a hairbrush, don't I? Hilarious. So your choice of roll back. If you're feeling tight in inner thigh, you want to try seal, you could always go with your seal. So you soles of the feet together, interlink lift. So whatever your body needs, if you feel like a little bit of the inner thigh, the groin type stuff, that's a seal. If you feel like its hamstrings are a little bit tight, it might be your roll over. Holding onto your shins and just taking a moment to extend on the backs of the legs. One more. If it's more like core engagement, it might just be rolling. And try not to let the feet go down. Okay, we did do it last week and I had a little bit of feedback how tricky this one was. So I've got an option, staff pose, which basically press your hands down by the sides of your hips. Lift your chest but try and send your shoulders down, get length at the back of the neck. So your crown of head shines to the ceiling. And you don't have to lift, but you can almost put the weight a little bit into your hands there. So you're not actually lifting and sending yourself through. Then the back plank, so then into your lift. And then lower, and then find staff pose again. So the option I did last week was to, I don't know if I could do that on this, I'll have to do it on the carpet. Because, what did I do last week? Yeah, last week I must have done it on the carpet. I had socks on, that explains it. So yeah, you go through and then you go out into the lift. That's what I did last week. Lifted up your weight, go through. I'm sure I didn't do it on the carpet. I do remember it feeling like that. Maybe I did do it on the mat. Yeah, I did it on the mat. So it's the tricep move, back to the arms. It's obviously wrists, forearms, shoulders. The back plank obviously is calf, is hamstrings, glutes. You can add in a leg lift. Last one, so you might be in soft pose, just a little bit of a test. And then back plank. And I know that it's not a comfortable one, is it, back plank? It's not an enjoyable view. Facing this way then. Spine twist, so you might want to grab a cushion if it helps you get that upright position. You don't have to be legs crossed, you can be legs straight. If you go legs crossed, be aware, like we always choose the same way, so maybe try the other way just to test yourself, and then flex your feet a little bit, because often we relax our feet, but just put a bit of tension in the ankle just to kind of protect the ankle really. Then get nice and upright, but just take a little bit of a porridge roll with sort of the chest, so this kind of center point, like you're stirring porridge with the center of your chest and your shoulders. So it's just a nice kind of hip mobility move. We're just going to come and find center for our spine twist. Again, this is Kundalini. If anyone likes Kundalini yoga, this is a Kundalini. That's the special term, not my porridge move. Come to center. Get nice and upright. Lift the chest, shoulders down, palms together. Breathe in to get tall. Lengthen the back of the neck. Breathing out, spine twist. Now go the way you don't normally go. Because I bet as well you always turn the same way first. I do. And then the other way. That center point, that inhale, just try and get half a centimetre taller. Exhale, just relax a little bit. Let the shoulders come down. Two more. Last one. Palms together, heart center. Namaste.